What's up, guys? Welcome to Among the Fence, my YouTube channel writing music reviews. My name is Aaron, and if it's your first time seeing one of my videos, I'd like to welcome you to my channel where I just chill and talk about all the things that we love or hate. And if you have anything you want to review and check out, please leave a comment below letting me know what it is, and I'll make it happen for you. And if you do that, please don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell icon, that we don't miss out on that requested video, or I guess any of my upcoming videos for that matter. But for today's review, we're going to be checking out the new album Reaching Hypercritical by the band Palisades. I gotta admit, it's been quite a while since I've been into this band. Their 2015 album, Mind Games, was the last album I fully enjoyed from them. I do dig their electronic core style that's kind of like a post-hardcore rave. I started to lose interest with them in their 2017 self-titled release, where they moved away from this unique sound for an album full of radio play generic songs that just happened to get worse in their 2018 album Erase the Pain. A lot of the changes in their sound is, of course, to band members leaving, and this new album sees the departure of their long-term vocalist, and now bassist Brandon Elgar is stepping up to the mic, and I'm not really sure how much of their sound is going to change, and if it's really going to have a negative impact on the band. I'm not sure how much Lou, their vocalist, was in charge of songwriting and all that, but I don't know. I feel like losing another person who's been in the band for about a decade now isn't going to be the best thing this band has ever seen. The first track on the album, My Consequence, opens up with a synth beat and a heavy guitar that becomes pretty bare bones in the verse. It's very Architects and even Skillet sounding. The chorus is more presence from the guitar, but it's nothing exciting really. The bridge gets a little bit more intense, but overall this is a very basic, generic sounding song from sounds like bands we've already heard before. The title track, Reaching Hypercritical, opens with a yell saying, "I am an animal." And I don't understand why bands have been on like an animal kick lately. It's either in a song lyric or a title track of a song. For instance, Architects has it in one of their songs, and there's a couple other bands that do the same thing. And the verses are pretty bare bones. Again, drums with some kind of random big chords that just falls on the first beat of every measure, and it just kind of holds out. The chorus is almost cringy as he compares himself to an animal, and he's very dangerous. And the guitar solo during the breakdown is pretty decent, but still overall this song is just kind of meh. It's very cliche. It sounds like something we've heard before with lyrics and music. Everything feels very regurgitated. And then we have the song Invincible, which has this quiet, slow intro with an atmospheric sounding guitar. It sounds like an attempt at Linkin Park, to be completely honest, especially in the first chorus and then thereafter. The message isn't that bad, but the execution was very lackluster in terms of very simple riffs and very just boring drum work. The production on this song is really good, and that's something I'm starting to notice throughout all these songs, is the production is top notch and probably the best part that this album is going to offer. Your Misery has a heavy intro with some really cool sounding accents thrown in throughout it. The verses are staticky until the main riff comes back in about halfway through. The lyrics in the song are pretty weird and very contradictory. Like, it's speaking of someone who's on their high horse and they're full of hate. When this song comes off, like it's on a high horse and full of hate, the verses are very much holier than thou, and the choruses are just relishing in this other person's suffering, which to me, it sounds like they're full of hate. It's pretty catchy though, especially in the chorus, which has a really good hook. It's just kind of one of those things where you don't realize that you're becoming what you don't like by letting it get to you, sort of thing. And I don't think that they realize that, but this song is just, I don't know, it was really tough for me to take it seriously in this sense. Then we have the song Without You, which is quite the opposite, as it's showing somebody compassion. It definitely has a very strong Linkin Park vibe to it. The lyrics are very much heartfelt, and the chorus sounds great in this song. Honestly, this song hits just right for what I feel like the band was trying to communicate. It does get really repetitive though, mainly because it's got like a chorus and then a bridge, which is the exact same thing as the chorus pretty much, and then it goes into a final chorus. It's not a bad sounding song, but I don't know, it's definitely like one of the best ones on this album. Better starts off with this piano sounding thing in the intro, followed by a fat riff that cuts out in the verse, but then comes back in about halfway through the verse, which is starting to become a very common thing with these songs. The lyrics are on the nose with a lot of cliche metaphors and very straightforward lines, especially in the chorus. Sounds kind of silly, especially when you try to sing along with it. I want to feel better. Then we have the song The Fray, which is probably my favorite song on this album. It's got some really heavy drums in the intro, followed by some great instrumentation that makes you very sad when it cuts out in the verses and goes back to just having basic drums. The chorus has some really good stops to it. It sounds great, followed by a decent post-chorus kind of section. The bridge has like this voice message thing in it, followed by probably one of the longest outros I've ever heard. That's basically just as long as the entire song is specifically lyrically, but overall, this to me is probably the best sounding song, even though it still holds a very generic kind of texture to it. Sick of the Attitude starts out with some distorted vocals, an aggressive riff, but then it cuts out in the verse. It becomes very boring. It does have some distorted vocals that pop up about halfway through the verse though to keep you from falling asleep. Linkin Park vibes all over again. The bridge has a solid breakdown to it with some great vocals, and the final chorus comes in pretty strong. I love that they cut out some of the music going into the final chorus, and then it just comes back and it just sounds so good. And honestly, this is another really good song on this album, probably my second favorite right behind Fray. And then we have the song Fade Away, which is probably my least favorite song on this album. It's just another Linkin Park ripoff. It's really hard to critique this song past that. The lyrics are very basic. The guitar work is about 4 chords or so. The drums just basically are there to keep time, and the vocals sound like he's trying so hard, so very hard to be Chester. It's not a bad sounding song, but it just isn't. It isn't it. It's too much of a Linkin Park ripoff, and you can't get past that. Honestly, it was so hard for me to enjoy this song because it sounds like they're trying to be a cover band at this point. Sober has this chimey, twingly kind of thing going on in the verse. The pre-chorus has tons and tons of chugs to it, as the chorus sounds really good in the way it just flows along. The verses are just kind of okay. Again, they're very boring. They lack anything that's really interesting music-wise. Even the vocals in this, which honestly, like, they're not that bad. Sounding like Chester isn't the worst thing you could ever have, but in this song, they're so bland. The bridge, however, is very perfect as it brings the heat and the aggression. I feel like a little bit more of their songs would do a lot better if they had this sort of thing going for them. The final chorus, however, does lose its charm because you're just, I don't know, you're over the sound. I love the way the chorus flows the first couple times around, but the second time, it feels like this song just kind of plows straight through and it doesn't really give you a chance to enjoy anything because it just keeps going and going and going. There's no down moments other than the verses, which you just can't wait for them to get over. And then we have the closing track, Closure, which has a beautiful sounding violin and some synth stuff in the verse. The lyrics are a little bit more personal, making this song less generic and a lot less cliche, and it just sounds so much better. The verses are pretty much bare bones until you get to verse 2, which is a little bit more upbeat thanks to the drums, and it's a little bit quicker. The outro is absolutely fantastic with just pounding drums, which, I mean, there's nothing really that exciting about them, but it makes it stand out more. It makes the emotion hit a little bit better. This isn't a bad closing track for this album. In fact, again, I feel like if a lot of their songs were taken from this perspective with a little bit more synth stuff added in there, just something to make the songs more exciting, because we're not getting it from the guitar work, we're not getting it from the drums, the vocals are just kind of there. We just need just something a little bit different. I feel like this song brought it. Just about every other song on this album is decent, or at least there's something in every other song that you can find enjoyable. The production and the mix on this is great. The synthetic music is used beautifully. It all complements the emotions in the song and also what all the other instruments are doing. However, this album is basically just diet Linkin Park, specifically Hybrid Theory, just not quite as innovative, creative, or heavy. The lyrics touch on some great themes, but it's done in a very lazy way. The riffs are all the same, and so is the songwriting. Starts out with a heavy intro, then it cuts out for a quiet kind of verse, or maybe just a verse with just some drums. And then the intro riff comes back in about halfway through the verse. Then we have a very generic sounding chorus, rinse and repeat on every single freaking song. I mean, it just makes this whole album lack character and uniqueness, which is something that, I mean, like it or hate it, it's something that Palisades had before. It's something that made them good. So with all that said, I gotta give Reaching Hypercritical by Palisades a 4.5 out of 10. I know I probably made a lot of people pissed off with this review, which is to be expected. So I want to know what you guys think, other than the fact that you hate me and my opinion on this album. Leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of Reaching Hypercritical. Let me know what you rate it, what your favorite song is. If your opinion is vastly different than mine, let me know why, because I'm curious to see what it is that people are enjoying about this album. Maybe I'm just missing something. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to give it a like. Also leave a comment below letting me know what I should review next. Thank you so much for subscribing and ringing the bell icon and taking time out of your day to listen to me just sit here and talk about music. I appreciate it more than you guys could ever imagine. And I hope you all have a good rest of your day or night, whenever you happen to be watching this. And I will talk to you guys next time.
I was trying to make it relying on my parents said to sing me.